Okay, on a flight back from Cancun recently, me and my wife decided we were going to watch a movie. And looking through the list that we had, I saw Wreck-It Ralph, and I was like, well, this one probably wouldn't have any scenes kind of cut down to make it work on an airplane. Wreck-It Ralph is actually a very simple concept done by Disney. Your title character, of course, is Wreck-It Ralph, who is the villain in a game called Fix-It Felix Jr., a game that has been going on for 30 years. The idea they posit is that when the arcade is done, everyone leaves their game through the electrical cord and meets in the central station, which essentially is the surge protector. And that's how people from other games communicate with each other. Wreck-It Ralph has spent 30 years being the villain. He actually currently lives in a dump. He has always lived at the dump. And at the 30th anniversary, he realized he wasn't invited. So he kind of asks, he kind of breaks into the pen, looking, hey guys, how come I wasn't invited? Why is it I'm not on top of this cake? I've been here for like 30 years. Why is it I still live by myself? So you really do feel lots of empathy for that character. He then decides that he knows what he's going to do. He's going to get himself a medal. That's what Fix-It Felix Jr. gets every time he defeats Wreck-It Ralph. The gameplay for that game is kind of a version of like Donkey Kong, where you have your character up top who is dropping things. Sometimes he's just destroying a building, and Fix-It Felix, using his magical hammer, is fixing everything. When they show those games and the older games, they move in this really great block pattern. Because in older video games, you had 4 directions. You didn't have the 8. So when people are walking, they're going straight, and they stop, and they make a sharp turn to walk. I really enjoyed that aspect. They show a moment where he's going to essentially where all the villains are at. And it's kind of being run by a ghost from Pac-Man. If you watch his movements, he moves almost identical to how you saw the characters move in Pac-Man. I thought that was great. They do lots of really good little nods here and there. From graffiti in the background to character cameos all over the place. This is chock full of Easter eggs. My favorite piece of graffiti that I saw in the movie was Shenlong was here. Yes, the person who trained Ken and Ryu. Beautiful thing to see that. While he decides he wants to go win a medal, someone's like, oh, he's going to go Turbo. They then tell you the story of how Turbo was a really popular game. And then another game showed up, and it was more popular. Turbo then left that game and became a glitch in the other game. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Wreck-It Ralph one day finds out a game called Hero Duty. Or Hero of Duty. And it's a one of those hyper-realistic 3D first-person shooters. He finds out that if you complete it, you get a medal. So he goes in there, bubbles his way through it because he does not have any sort of training for finding all of these bugs. So it's kind of like a Halo spoof somewhat, with Jane Lynch being the title character in that area. He happens to make his way through and get a medal. Inadvertently makes his way into Sugar Rush, which is kind of like a J-pop racing game with everything being candy related. This is where the bulk of the movie takes place. And he's pretty much helping a girl called Vanellope. Yes, it's the word Penelope combined with the word vanilla. And helping her actually win a race to become one of the random drivers you get to choose from. And that is the bulk of the movie. But what happens is, it's the next day at the arcade. Someone goes to play Fix-It Felix Jr. And the phrase, I'm gonna wreck it, shows up, which is what Wreck-It Ralph says, but he's not there. And he's not breaking anything. So now Fix-It Felix is in the game and he can't do anything. You're probably thinking, well, no big deal. Except they put the thing out saying the machine's out of order. If you pull the plug on the machine, it pretty much destroys the whole world on the inside. So Fix-It Felix now has to try to find Wreck-It Ralph to get him back into the game to try to figure out what it is that's going on, get him back in the game so that people think the game's fine and it won't get unplugged, therefore destroying their whole world. So very interesting. Now, does they say that some of the language from the little girl, done by Sarah Silverman, is probably a bit cruder than what you'd want like a 5-year-old to say later. So it definitely is geared more towards people around, I think, of my age. People who remember Nintendo controllers and old school 8-bit graphics, and I just remember old school arcade games. They did a really nice job on that. That's the Street Fighter characters in them, the Mortal Kombat character, people from House of the Dead, Mario, just Q*bert, all over the place. This movie you probably could watch and do a freeze frame, probably find 50 or 60 different references to games. Cute game, cute movie, nice movie, has a good feel to it. Definitely does kind of work for a younger audience as well as an older audience that has a decent amount of knowledge in the world of video games.